Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot coming at you with the weekly comic book roundup. We've got decently sized, the same size haul as last week, so let's get started. To get things off, we've got X-Force number 33, week's only Judgment Day tie-in. So where we left off, Craven, in response to learning about Krakoan resurrection, has decided to rain death upon Krakoa by himself. His thoughts on the matter are generally about, kind of death. Death is an important part of life. It is equally important, and if everyone, we need to, people need to know that they're going to die to truly, enjoy life. BS along those lines. That said, he's decided, as things are heating up against the Celestial and the Eternals, he's decided instead of going after Krakoa as a whole, he's going to go after their greatest warrior, Wolverine. And he has taken Beast into the Shadow Room to use as bait. With the Shadow Room set to imitate the Savage Land, and all safety protocols turned off. But Beast actually manages to, to a degree, hold his own against Kraven. I mean, not hand to hand. Kraven is ready Tyrannosaurus and, well, gets speared through the leg, but he manages to stick the spear in the Tyrannosaurus' eye and escape the scene. But when Logan arrives, shortly after Logan arrives, things get glitchy. Basically, what's going on with the Eternals kind of glitches up the systems. So, and also kills comms. But Sage finds Omega Red in Deadpool. Deadpool's regrowing inside the rest of Deadpool's body is regrowing inside the plant body that Black Tom made for him. Beast actually manages to lead Kraven into a trap, getting him attacked by a couple of pterosaurs before Wolverine shows up. However, a volcano on the Savage erupts. And once again, Kraven attacks the pair. Sage sends Deadpool and Omega Red into the Shadow Room. Wolverine and Kraven go hand to hand. With Wolverine definitely being the winner. Deadpool arrives to help them escape, but turns out his plant body's not lava proof. Also, the Tyrannosaurus Kraven was right earlier gets Kraven, seemingly eating him. But Wolverine brings out Deadpool. Afterwards, he gets drunk with his daughter, and opts to go for being audaciously philosophical rather than wanting to get in a fight. Kraven has survived. We learn on the last page what happened, and goes to the North Pole to Avengers Mountain and to remind himself that everything can die, even the immortal X-Men. And that is where the issue ends. I would say it kind of spoils the ending of Judgment Day, except for the fact that, come on, it was pretty obvious how that was going to go, how Judgment Day is going to end. Anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got X-Men number 16. Where we left off, Forge had found a way to contain the vault and had also infiltrated the vault to rescue Darwin. So we have a flash. We start with a flashback to the recent past. Forge talking with Sinister, basically explaining how does he got his Caliban suit. Apparently, there were 3 additional bits of mutant DNA he needed for it. But basically, kind of, they're owed favors, and yeah, they owe each other favors and stuff like that. And inside the vault, Forge takes on the appearance of one of the children of the vault that they encountered outside, though he is being followed. But apparently by Serafina. Outside the vault, Havoc and Cyclops start to have an argument about things, and this leads to Cyclops throwing a punch and blasting a hole in the barrier set up in front of the vault, releasing the child of the vault that Forge is impersonating. But they're able to prevent him from returning to the vault and manage to plug him back into his stasis pod. But Jean and Cyclops have a psychic chat about the whole thing. Kind of, this is not. This team's gonna need. We need some fine tuning on this team. And I think that Havoc being, Havoc's looking for something, and being part of the X-Men ain't it. Digging through the vault, Forge is using Caliban's mutant tracking abilities to find the mutant within the vault. And he does so. Only it's not Darwin. It's Wolverine. So, kind of the big question is... Now, my initial thoughts on this were, oh no, was the typical, so the Wolverine we've been seeing for the last year and a half has been enough. No, it's not that, because she was resurrected, but it still means that something's happened. Now the theory that Forge has that the Children of the Vault killed Darwin. That's kind of the thing. Darwin's power is not to die. He'll adapt to survive. So I'm kind of starting to think that Serafina, who's following Forge, is actually Darwin, and that Darwin adapted in such a manner to avoid being tracked by as a mutant. So yeah, but we'll have to see what's what next month. That is where the issue ends, and what an ending. Moving on to our next book, though, we've got Carnage, number 7. Where we left off, Carnage was going after, was meaning to kill Malekith. However, the splinter of the symbiote that had made it to Shade instead rescued Malekith, and well, they're trying to get out of hell. So they deal with a bunch of giants that have been apparently. It's on Shade's part. It's pretty much for self-preservation. It serves killing them serves a purpose. Whereas for Malekith, it's revenge. Hell is informed that they've made their way to the Well of All Rivers. And meanwhile, Carnage and Kenneth Neely make it to where Malekith was imprisoned and being tortured. When Hela appears to him and basically says, "Hey, gives him a suggestion and offers to help him find Malekith." And when it looks like Carnage is looking for something from Malekith. When Shade tries to go after Neely, however, he's prevented by one of Hela's operatives. He's like, no. And we learn that what it was that Carnage wanted from Malekith was basically Malekith's codex. As during the War of the Realms, Malekith did briefly wield the Venom symbiote as a sword. But that is where the issue ends. Carnage is definitely getting interesting. I'll say, in a lot of ways, I feel like Carnage is a better book than it has any right to be. I put that on Ram V. His writing, definitely elevates it. Moving on to our next book, we've got Deadly Neighborhood Spider-Man #1. So this is an odd book so far. It's an odd series. Just gonna say it. Peter Parker is in Pasadena working on a project for ESU, but he's having odd dreams. Very odd and lucidly odd dreams. But his lab partner has found found a rock, and so he picked up the rock, and it looks odd. It catches Peter's eye. So there's obviously writing on it. It looks old, it's super old, but yeah, like I said, there is writing of a sort on it. But Peter goes to play chess. Apparently, he's playing chess regularly at the Long Beach Pier. But he has a waking dream, and he does a little bit of web slinging, and ends up saving some glampers, as he calls them, from a bear, which is a rather large black bear, which aren't in the Long Beach area anymore. But calls ELCSVCA now, and then he goes back to the really nice house he's currently staying in, and takes to looking at the rock some more. Has another fantasy, this time him in a maze as an old man. This vision ends up him being shot. But his roommates show up. There's a art show they're going to, and they're bringing Peter along. One of the exhibits actually gives Peter something to think about, and does some additional web slinging, and ends up in the Rose Bowl. Two security guards merge into a wolf creature with a flashlight in place of an eye and used as a means of firing an energy blast. But yeah, basically, Spider-Man's just having to deal with some real just trippy stuff, and it's starting to look more and more like it's part of reality. But the experiment he's working on has seemingly summoned the demon bear. And that is where the issue ends. It's interesting. It's odd, but interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about the thought of Peter in Southern California, but, for an extended period, but, hey, whatever. Moving on to our last one for the moment, we've got Moon Knight number 16. Where we left off, Moon Knight had learned that the tutor was not making any moves whatsoever to Chinatown. So somebody else had controlled Chinatown, and so Moon Knight has gone to investigate, bringing Reese and Soldier with him. Hunter's Moon is dealing with some other stuff, though. But so it turns out that Moon Knight is going to meet with the basically the vampire in charge who runs things in Chinatown. So it's said to be a diplomatic visit. While this is going on, Hunter's Moon is facing off against the assassins that the tutor sent after Moon Knight. But it turns out that the vampire in question explains her origin. She was raised from birth to be an assassin in the court of the dread immortal Yi Yang. She is the first of her bloodline created by Yi Yang's alchemy. She killed 1,000 men at Yi Yang's behest a century before Vlad Dracula was even born. And Moon Knight called her a coward. But he states that he called him as he see him. So then he asked the important question: why is she afraid of the tutor? And it's because the tutor has basically told her, hey, well, as she has left Yi Yang's service, the tutor said to her, hey, you leave I'll leave Chinatown alone. You leave me alone, and I won't tell Yi Yang where you are. So, but the big problem is that apparently, but we also get some insight into the tutor. He's big on structure, cult thought, pyramid schemes, MLMs, that kind of stuff. But Reese turning soldier threatens tutor's exclusivity. Meanwhile, the fight that Hunter's Moon is facing has gotten a whole hell of a lot worse. A bunch of additional vampires have joined in against him. But Moon Knight offers to, says, hey, okay, fine. You can't act against the tutor. That's totally understandable. But I can, and if you can give me any intel, that'll help me be able to act against him. Apparently, he's having an international summit of vampire leadership. Delegations from vampire nations around the world. And she knows where this is going to be. They can even put Moon Knight in the same room as the tutor. Only catch is that the room will also be filled with some of the most dangerous vampires in the world. It's implied that Moon Knight intends to bring Hunter's Moon along. However, that plan falls by the wayside as the two assassins that went after Moon Knight seemingly kill Hunter's Moon by snapping his neck. And that is where the issue ends. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. And that is going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.